Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a while and I plan to do an update video sometime in the near future, but today I wanted to go over my personal statement that I used in my AMCAS applications to apply to medical school. Currently I attend Dartmouth Geisel School of Medicine, so I wanted to start a series where I go over my entire AMCAS application and my secondaries for those who are interested in applying. I know it's not a long list, but I also got accepted to California University of Science Medicine and New York Medical College. If anyone is interested, I can make secondary videos for those schools as well. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing by reading aloud my entire AMCAS personal statement, and I'll have some text either at the bottom or the side so you can read along with me. At the end, I'll share some comments and any tips that I have on writing personal statements and kind of walk you through the general process that I went through to writing my personal statement. Now, it goes without saying that this personal statement is very personal to me, but I did want to share it, and I hope that it can inspire you or spark some ideas or creativity in sharing your own story. I know that no two people will have the same story, and there's no cookie cutter perfect formula to create the perfect personal statement, but I wanted to share mine. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started. I'm going to be reading off to the side a bit so I can look at my laptop. And again, this story is very personal, and I'll talk more about it at the end, but I wanted to just give you the whole story first. My best friend Ashley and I dreamed of attending boarding school together. We met in China, but had been separated by a move. Her to Saudi Arabia and me back to the US. The dream almost became a reality. She was the first to go, and I assured her I would follow suit when my parents moved to Africa the next year. In the meantime, we talked online every day. Until one day, she stopped replying. A week of worry went by when I finally received a reply from her roommate. One I couldn't have been prepared for. A blood vessel in her brain exploded and caused her to stop breathing. At age 14, Ashley suffered a hemorrhagic stroke from a brain arteriovenous malformation. As a result of my father's job in the Foreign Service, I grew up in 5 countries and 4 states. I saw many underdeveloped communities in Peru, China, and Equatorial Guinea, and learned at a young age the importance of giving back to the community. My mother, a nurse and an immigrant from an underserved community herself, often did so through healthcare access. It was through my own experiences, however, where I solidified this passion for medicine and increasing access to healthcare. While living in Beijing in middle school, I experienced the impact of medicine in these communities when I helped fundraise for cleft palate surgeries for babies in a local orphanage. Soon after we met our fundraising goal, I stared at the post-surgery photo of a baby I once held in my arms, learning he had been adopted. This direct impact by the surgeon on the child's life inspired me to begin pursuing medicine with the aspiration to make direct impacts of my own, especially in areas of medical disparity. Everyone, no matter their status, hopes their loved ones will remain healthy. Ashley was not healthy. She was in a coma, barely alive. I felt scared, hopeful, sad, and strangely guilty. I sent her voice messages for her dad to play, and once she awoke, I FaceTimed her, although she could not speak. My best friend, a girl who loved to play soccer, was now paralyzed. It was hard to see her in that state, but at 14, I had to be brave. I researched AVMs and discovered how the neurology field still had gaps in knowledge and technology. It was frustrating, but I learned then the importance of this field and became more personally invested in medicine. I hoped if Ashley had the right resources, her life could still be filled with the same joys as her peers. The schoolhouse contained only a single room, with concrete walls of chipped paint, glassless windows, and rows of old desks. The summer before college, in the remote side of Bioko Island, Equatorial Guinea, I helped villagers, ranging from 30 to 80 years old, receive their first health and first aid class. We taught them basic hygiene, such as toothbrushing and hand washing. Access to a healthcare provider and basic resources was a privilege here. After the lesson, we left supplies with the local shaman to distribute. That day, through medicine and health education, we potentially saved lives for years to come. This further inspired me to become a physician, one that not only treats but also educates and provides preventative care. Soon Ashley was able to use special keyboards to communicate, and once again we were messaging online. At UChicago, I pursued a degree in neuroscience and sought out research labs related to neurology. Although I was not working with stroke victims, I had the opportunity to connect with and provide hope to patients who struggled daily with addictive, compulsive, and impulsive disorders as we investigated treatments. As Ashley continued to improve, we were once again dreaming. For her to walk, to go to college, until, just as suddenly as before, 5 years later, the messages stopped again. This time, they never returned. I learned that day medicine is not all-powerful. I was devastated, once again guilty, but now in my second year of college, resilient and determined. There was still much left in this field to do, to improve. And although medicine is not all-powerful, it did give me 5 more years with my best friend, and it is still capable of making a great impact in the lives of others. Throughout college, I helped MedLife fundraise for low-income families access to education and healthcare. In a return to Beijing, I collaborated with a PhD student on writing a research paper for screen and treat methods for cervical cancer in low-income areas. After shadowing a pediatric neurologist and through my own coursework, my interest in neurology expanded to epilepsy and other neurological disorders. During my year at Keck Graduate Institute, I published a review paper on treatments for rare epilepsies in neurology reviews. I began volunteering in pediatrics at a nearby community hospital. Even though I was not able to help Ashley, I see hope and extraordinary growth potential for the field of neurology and medicine, and am determined to be a part of that growth. My personal and global experiences have inspired me and left me with the unwavering desire to become a physician and diligently work to further approaches to medicine and neurology. They have also left me with a unique global perspective and a strong motivation to alleviate medical disparities in underserved communities. Okay, so that was a long essay. As you can tell, as I said, it is quite personal. I definitely chose a style of writing that I don't think is the most common for personal statements. As you can tell, I sort of did this back and forth style where I started with a narrative, the story of my friend Ashley, and kind of returned to that story while weaving in other stories, as you just saw. But overall, one thing that I have always liked is creative writing, and a theme throughout my MCAS application you'll see is I like to tell stories in a more vivid way or descriptive way, kind of a creative writing style, and I found success in that. I did the same thing, a similar thing for my UChicago essays, and I really think that being creative in this way kind of lends you to going to more creative places. And I think that for me, at least, it's a way that I really just like to tell my stories about my life. Reading over this essay, I'm not sure I would have kept it exactly as it is, but this is what I wrote at the time. I know it can be a little bit sort of jarring back and forth, but I still like it. I do think it conveys one of my inspirations for going into medicine. I feel like when I was writing my personal statement, when I was trying to write my personal statement, I was thinking, there's so many reasons why I want to go into medicine, and I just wanted to convey that, how there was just so many reasons why, and that it just felt like it was such a core identity in me. But I also wanted to include the story of my friend, who was a big inspiration on why I wanted to particularly go into this one field, which it's not very common, I don't think, that people kind of focus on this. You know, I talked a lot about neurology, but, you know, most people, I don't know if I would recommend that. I think that most people don't really know what they want to go into when they enter medical school, and to sort of assume that you do almost comes off as like, well, maybe you're a little naive, you don't really know what you want to go into. But with me, I feel like and to this day, I just feel like resonate very strongly with this field for the reason that I said. I just feel like that experience that I had with my friend, along with just all the building blocks that I built along the way, as well as also with some other personal experiences I've had, I really felt strongly passionate about that. So that's why I wrote it in my personal statement. Yeah, so that's kind of the main one of the inspirations behind that. You know, it's still an impact on me to this day. I think with time, it's, you know, as all things gotten, you know, a little bit further from my mind, but it's something that I still think about every once in a while. And as you can tell, I still sometimes get emotional over it. But anyways, so overall, I think that personal statements, my advice for it, and you can take my advice or not. You know, I'm just one person who didn't get into that many medical schools, but I think that really putting a kind of creative spin or a in the moment style to personal statements, I feel like is impactful. You know, the reviewers are reading lots of lots of personal statements, and you want to show, like, not tell that we've learned our whole lives in English class. It applies to this too. And one book that I read is, let me find it, The Pre-Med Playbook Guide to the Medical School Personal Statement by Dr. Ryan Gray. I read his book on personal statement and also his other books. I'll talk about that more in some of my other videos, but I really liked his books and his points, and it's kind of similar to what I was saying, but he goes over it a little bit more in detail, so I highly recommend that. So overall, the way I would approach personal statement is just really kind of dig deep on what is your inspiration to medicine, and kind of, if it use that to dictate the way that your story comes out. So for me, I felt like it was a bunch of things, and so I try to convey that the most I could in my personal statement. I think that, you know, it takes time to sort of work through that, and that's the first step, and then the other steps are writing a story, refining it, thinking like, okay, is this capturing what I want to capture? Usually it'll be way too long and you have to cut it down to the word limit, and then just going through that process. It's a really, you know, taxing but personal, obviously, process. So that wraps up this video. I hope that it was somewhat helpful, that you got some ideas or inspiration. Definitely check out that book if you want to know more information, if you want some more structured tips. And I'll continue this series, so definitely be on the lookout for that in the future. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!